um, Cabinet Secretary, ministers from the region, presidents of planning institutions, planners, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for giving me your time. My name is Josephine Muchogu. I'm from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. I'm an architect and an urban designer. I'm here representing a team, a collaborative team with University of Nairobi School of Law, Fish Force Academy, and we are here to talk about the policy issues that will enable us to plan for blue cities. Valentine? Forgive us for our technical issues. Can I thank Dr. Uku for a fantastic presentation? You've actually set the ground for what we're about to talk about. Issues of coastal cities starting inland, yes. Issues of partnerships to achieve the goals. As we have said, we need a collaborative, multidisciplinary, multi-sectoral approach to attack this. And I'm here to talk about SDG 11, that is sustainable cities and communities. Slideshow? Thank you very much. We are representing a team funded by under the Biomsa Cities and Coast project that Dr. Uku has mentioned. And next slide, please. What our project is just go back a bit. Sorry. Yes, realizing a blue urban agenda for coastal cities in Kenya through sustainable consumption, production policy and governance. So we are actually here to set a challenge for planners going ahead in your planning endeavors, that we embrace sustainable consumption and production issues, which I will talk to you a bit. And we are actually approaching it or attacking it from the policy side, so that we see how we can actually set a roadmap for implementation of a blue urban agenda. Next slide, please. I'll start with a brief history of the Fish Force Academy. How many of you have heard of the Fish Force Academy? Oh, wow, fantastic. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Fish Force Academy. In 2018, we hosted the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference in Nairobi. I don't know how many of you attended. And one of the commitments made was to establish an Institute for Blue Economy and Open Studies, known as IBIOS. And this has been domesticated at the University of Nairobi under the name of the Fish Force Academy, or the Maritime Center. And the main purpose for this is to undertake research and manage knowledge, to offer technical assistance, and to build capacity in all matters related to the ocean and waterways. So as you can see, ocean matters are not just being dealt with at the coast, they're also being dealt with inland. So as the Fish Force Academy, we also embrace urbanization. I believe all urban planners are familiar with Habitat 3 in Quito, Ecuador, a few years ago, where the new urban agenda was launched. And with this agenda, there was an implementation strategy, priority action areas, and one of them was addressing unsustainable consumption and production patterns. And I like that Dr. Uku talked about waste disposal and the way we manage waste. The question is, have we been planning cities for sustainability, and how do we go ahead doing that? So, what are the challenges that cities face? As we were told yesterday, and we probably know, majority of people are already living in cities globally. And this situation is only getting more intense. As we were told, our growth rates, with Uganda leading and Tanzania and ourselves, we are urbanizing rapidly. But this comes with its own challenges. which include consumption of materials. There are two ways of looking at it. Economists look at it as factors of production, like it's a good thing, yes? But as planners, we should also realize that these materials are not infinite. Yeah, these resources have a limit. That is where we're heading into issues of sustainability, and we cannot go ahead exploiting them the way we've been doing it historically. So all these consumption is concentrated in cities. Provision of services, provision of a good quality of life for citizens in terms of health and other infrastructure is also a challenge, because the cities are coming faster than we can plan for them. And what we must do in order to realize sustainable cities is have a circular approach to how we run cities. What does this mean? Traditionally, we have been having a linear approach where you have raw materials and you produce your goods, and then after that you dispose of your waste and life goes on. Then you go get new raw materials, like the resources are infinite. But now we need to manage that so that we can limit our use of fresh raw materials and perhaps use more of what we call waste traditionally as a source of raw materials. Thank you. Now, this project that we are running is beyond the new urban agenda. We have a specific focus on coastal cities in the blue economy. So what we are trying to come up with is a blue urban agenda. So we come up with policy recommendations for cities specifically along coastal areas. So what we intend to do is to beef up what was put together as the new urban agenda and what tailor make it specifically for coastal cities, and this is what we are calling the blue urban agenda. So what is the blue urban agenda? As Dr. Uku has said, she actually preempted some of the challenges being experienced along the coast, such as excessive fishery, destruction of natural habitat and the shoreline. Our development and industrialization also comes with challenges of waste and contamination. All these affect the marine environment, and again, I reiterate, a lot of it starts inland. From as near inland as Taita Taveta to Mount Kenya to the northeast. We do not live in a capsule at the coast. You cannot actually put the boundary. Next, please. So as I said before, we are trying to achieve sustainable goal number 11, that is sustainable cities and communities. And again, I enforce what Dr. Uku said through sustainable goal number 17, partnerships. So we have a project that was funded by WIOMSA, and our overriding objective is to advance the relevance of sustainable consumption and production. And in order to do this, we have some more specific objectives, which I shall list for you. Now, this is now research talk. So we always have our objectives and our specific objectives, so go with me. So our first objective is to identify regulatory and governance gaps as regards sustainable consumption and production. As you can see, we are dealing with policy issues. Our next goal is to integrate sustainable consumption and production policies into coastal cities and urban areas. We also want to investigate global best practice. We are not reinventing the wheel. And then finally, we want to be able to give recommendations and actionable planning items for planners of coastal cities with regards to sustainable consumption and production. So the scope of our study, we have actually chosen certain sectors in the coastal region that we will focus on. That is manufacturing and processing, construction and infrastructure, agriculture and food production, tourism and hospitality, environment and the natural resources. While we have segmented them like they are independent, they're actually all interrelated. And the project sites that we will be working on in order to launch our SCP policies are Mombasa City, Ukunda Diani, and Malindi Town, where we currently are. So we are very grateful to Malindi for hosting us. Now, yesterday it was mentioned that in Vision 2030 there are 5 metropolitan areas. So I want to take you on a bit of a trip in Kenya. How many of you know the different trading blocks in Kenya? Planners that we are planning. So there are some trading blocks, and one of them is Noreb. Valentine? Which is the North Rift Economic Bloc. We have the Mount Kenya and Aberdares Regional Economic Bloc, the Lake Region Economic Bloc, the Frontiers Development Bloc, the Southeastern Economic Bloc, sorry, I have to turn now to read, and the Jumuiya ya Counties za Pwani. These are economic blocks. So our project is actually in the Jumuiya, Counties za Pwani, where we currently are. And the Jumuiya has 5 counties currently. Valentine? We have Taita Taveta, we have Tana River, we have Lamu, and our project is concentrated along the coast in the 3 counties of Kilifi, Mombasa, and Kwale. Yes? And in those specific counties, we are going to be working in the towns of Malindi in Kilifi County, Mombasa, and Ukunda in Kwale County. So, we have just been talking about the circular economy, and this is just a slide to demonstrate to all of you what we said about how we have been doing business and how we have been planning. And I guess this is the biggest challenge to planners. We have been making linear plans where you start at production, at harnessing resources, producing linearly, and disposing of waste. So when Dr. Uku was asking about waste dumping sites, I would like to put a part B to that question. Do we need a waste dumping site, or can we have a circular economy where we can harvest some of that waste to act as a resource? That is what a circular economy means. We don't throw everything away, we protect our resources, and we use some of what we would call waste as a resource. And our biggest challenge is, as planners, you have been trained to plan linearly. Are you ready to plan for a circular economy? So, I will use an example of the circular economy, which Dr. Uku also mentioned, waste management in Kenya. Now policy. So this is to show you the methodology of what we are envisioning, our preferred futures. Right now, NEMA has waste management regulations. Yes, and under those waste regulations, it deals with solid waste. Sorry, you can't see very clearly. Solid waste. I know there's industrial waste, there's chemical waste, there's medical waste. And under that waste management system, what they do is what we are used to: generation, transportation, and disposal. What you're talking about, sites. We generate waste, we get it from site, and we dispose of it. And also under that act, we license the people who will also have recycling plants. But I want to show you a short video, Valentine, the next slide. I want to show you 2 short videos that have a potential for waste management. One of them is in the construction industry. If you can go back, Valentine, to the previous slide, and put play. Just hover. This is a video, a few minutes. Yes. Kindly indulge me. Thank you. Okay, we don't have sound. Can we have sound for the video, please? Maybe you... Okay, just pause, Valentine. Maybe I can introduce this. This is the Endelevu project. And we are dealing with something that we traditionally do not see as waste, and that is construction waste. What happens when we demolish all our buildings? Yes? You know, you traditionally think of waste as what you use in your household or what comes from industry. No, the previous one, please. Previous slide.
About 10 to 15% of building materials are wasted construction. Another 54% of demolition materials are dumped in landfills. Uncontrolled disposal of these waste has significant health, environmental, and economic impact. At any level, our mission is to reduce waste through reuse for the benefit of communities and the environment. We reclaim, recycle, and sell or donate materials from construction sites and existing buildings. The materials donated on the level are used in community building projects involving the construction or renovation of public school and hospital infrastructure, which are currently in poor state. These community projects help to create examples to build the evidence and confidence to support a widespread adoption of circular construction practices in Kenya.
Okay, thank you. Maybe before we play the other one, my challenge to planners is, you know how to plan. When you're doing your plan for Lamu, for Kilifi, for Malindi, you will plan for the waste landfill, the waste dumping site. You will plan to license people who are recycling waste. But as we are redeveloping our cities, we are demolishing a lot of buildings, old buildings to put up high-rise. So are we going to dump all that construction material in a landfill, then go and look for a new quarry to quarry stone, yet we have dumped stone? Yes? Why can't we think of reusing some of our waste as resources? Now, the purpose of our project is to provide the policy framework for that, because we don't think that the current policy landscape actually caters for some of the solutions that we need in order to achieve sustainable cities. And then another example of waste is with regards to environment. Yes, we keep talking about greening and open spaces. And we keep saying, there's a beautiful park here right at the coast. We stopped by an open space, beautiful. And we are planting new trees and everything. But this is a small video from Singapore, who have set an objective to be a city in a garden. And it's unique in that, not like we do while we were planning our expressway, you cut the trees, build your infrastructure. If you need trees, come and plant more trees. So kindly play the video, and we need sound, I think. Kindly indulge me for a few seconds. Now what they're doing is they are relocating trees. They need to move mature trees from a site. So instead of cutting them down, they're subtitled so it doesn't have sound. What they do is they don't dispose of them like we do and have people come hack them with canters and get firewood. You can actually reuse mature trees and relocate them elsewhere so that we don't have to plant new trees and wait for 20, 30, 40 years for them to mature. So that is another example of what we would call waste management. Yes? But we can actually use it as a resource. Yeah? So when we need our highways greened again, we don't have to start planting trees from all these construction sites. We are a very wasteful society. So just watch the video of them relocating some mature trees in the city. And for those of you who can read the subtitles, 2020 vision, please do. There. And this happens all over the globe. I teach in the Department of Landscape Architecture. they do it all over the place. And it takes such a long time for a tree to mature. But the main question we are asking is, our current policy framework, does it enable for these new innovations? If I want to do that, where do I get approval? Where do I start? We talked with Madame from Kura, and we had a fight about the trees she cut in my neighborhood. and we agreed that we are going to plant some more trees. By the way, we had this conversation. But it would be nice if we could say, can we get some mature trees from a site that does not need them and bring them to me? So that which is waste, yes, can come and serve as a resource. And in essence, that is what the circular economy is. That's what we're talking about, sustainable consumption and production. Okay. Next slide, please. Now, just a brief slide on our methodology. In the center, we have our 5 sectors. And just to go back, my slides were on the construction industry and greening, but they're also linked to economic opportunities. Somebody can actually start a viable business on tree relocation. Somebody can actually start a viable, it's happening in Nairobi on the roadside, of reselling construction materials. You can get used doors, used roofing tiles. So they can also stimulate the economy while preventing us from harnessing our raw resources. So this is my final slide on the methodology that we are using. So we have our 4 areas of focus, and we are going to do 2 things which we are currently doing and we shall do for the next 2 years. So we shall do an analysis of policy on your left. We shall analyze global frameworks, regional frameworks, and I'm glad that there are planners from the region. We shall analyze national and sub-national, that is at county level. And what we are looking for is policy gaps on sustainable consumption and production. We have legal frameworks within all those sectors. We have legal frameworks for manufacturing, for construction, for agriculture, tourism. But is there a gap? Do the frameworks engender themselves towards sustainable consumption and production? We have our big 4 agenda that captured that, the manufacturing, the housing. But in providing these things, how sustainable was the process? And we shall also look at global best practice, just go back a bit. And then, in tandem with that, we shall also have a stakeholder engagement. And that is from government, in terms of executive legislature, government agencies, private agencies, funders, yes? So that we actually have a collaborative, multi-sectoral, framework. We see all the people who need to be involved, they set the agenda, and we have a conversation on how in future, as we are planning Malindi, Lamu, Kilifi, we are not just doing a spatial plan, but we are doing a plan that will actually encourage sustainable consumption and production. Thank you very much.